We live in challenging time. Education is a great chance for ensuring that we benefit from the digital revolution. I decided to check how the United States students rank internationally. In the 2015 Program for International Student Assessment Test, which compares educational performance worldwide, US teenagers were 24th in reading, 25th in science, and 41st in mathematics, among more than 500,000 of 15-year-old students from 72 countries. Frankly speaking, I expected better results. America is among top 5 countries which spending on education is the highest. I noticed that Massachusetts took part in this PISA test independently. I wanted to know how the kids from my state performed. They did quite impressive, according to Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. They shared the top spot with 8 other nations in reading. In science, the state students and those of 10 other countries were second, with Singapore students at the first. In mathematics, they were 12th. I live in Westford, which is considered to be the town with great schools. So I decided to talk with the principal and the students of Westford Academy.
As you know, we've got a very strong curriculum here at the high school, and we've had some great success over the years, and I'm very proud of that. But I do want to talk about balance, and I want to talk about balance in a way that, last year we changed our graduation requirements, and what we looked at was having students take at least 2.5 credits of fine arts before they left the high school. Music, theater arts, ceramics classes, those kinds of things, to build a well-rounded student. You know, today colleges and universities are so competitive, and they don't want that cookie cutter kid that just has 4 AP classes, a 4.3 GPA, and 17 different activities. They want that student that shows stick-to-itness. So the student that maybe takes some high-level courses but balances it with theater arts and sports. And what we're seeing is that so many parents are concerned about how many AP courses students are taking, how many hours of community service and so forth, being involved with so many activities, that they're just overdoing the resume. And I think that I want to say to parents, find a balance. You also need some time for some downtime. You need some family time. I believe in that. You guys need to spend time as a family together and enjoy without the high academic stress. So challenge success is an opportunity for us to take a look at finding ways to continue with building resiliency with students, having high expectations, but also providing an opportunity for students to relax a little bit. We're taking a look at homework. We're taking a look at our schedule for next year. One of the things we're thinking about putting in place for next year is an opportunity for a free block where students can do some things to catch up during the school day so that they can not go home and do 5 or 6 hours of homework. There's also a homework committee in the community of Westford that's being spearheaded by Dr. Kerry Killeary, our assistant superintendent. It's a great opportunity. Challenge Success Team, which we have parents, students, and teachers, as well as myself in that committee. I certainly recommend, having students out, at the kitchen table doing their work, so there's not so many distractions. That's another interesting statistic that came out, that when you looked at the amount of homework that students had, but the amount of time that they were distracted by the computer, the music, the phone calls, the cellular phone next to them, and so forth. It actually added to the amount of time that students were doing in homework because they were not focused.
Speaking of homework, it often happens that classes are not intensive enough. Kids are not busy to the fullest at school, but somehow get a lot of homework. In high schools, there's a lot of talking about sports during the classes. I think teachers' evaluation should be more about how efficient and productive was the time students spent in class. Let's go back to Mr. Antonelli.
Our average student here at Westford Academy is getting 6.4 hours of sleep a night. That's not enough for the adolescent. So this past week I visited with superintendents, athletic directors, and principals to discuss perhaps moving the school day for the high school students later, perhaps an 8 o'clock start to 2:30. It would have an impact on some of the after-school activities, but we believe that the benefit would outweigh any of the issues that would occur in the afternoon. Of course, this is a discussion at this point, and nothing has been set in stone. And I know that Superintendent Bill Olson is very interested. And the studies show that students in this particular age level have a biorhythm that will, again, just because that they get to stay in bed a little bit later doesn't mean they're going to stay up later. And when I posed that question to Stanford, they indicated the same thing. I was a little skeptical. I said, well, if you let them sleep till 8 or 8:15, they'll be up till 1:15, 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's not what the data supports. The data supports that these students have a particular biorhythm and they will go to bed.
There were 11 Chinese exchange program students in Westford Academy for 3 weeks in February. I asked American students what they think about them. One thing in their answers surprised me.
Saying that the Chinese kids, they don't have as much free time as we do in the States, and their academic level is much higher than us. And I think that America can learn from these kinds of different countries in order to increase the standards of our country's education.
The future of the country is in classrooms, like basically where everyone learns the knowledge that they need to become successful, and they need that to grow careers. And for example, all the leaders of the country will have had to start somewhere as kids.
The children are the future. When we grow up, all of us, we will be integrated into American society, and we will determine whether the country falls or swims.
I think it's kind of amazing how much dedication they put into studying, and how they only have 1 hour to half an hour of free time is really different from here, because kids here, they have sports and stuff after school, so they have more free time.
You know that commitment to study pays back. China is one of the top countries with best educational system. Its students rank among the first 5 countries in reading, science, and math. And there's the reason why the country focuses on education and its improvement. China wants to move up the technology. Chinese don't want to make a lot of stuff for the world anymore. They dream of designing the stuff. They want the next big product to be Chinese and be sold around the world, in America as well. US News and World Report published its high schools ranking in April 2017. According to it, Westford Academy placed 46 out of 354 high schools in Massachusetts and 941st among 22,000 of high schools nationally. The school was awarded a silver medal. I would say not bad, but it depends with what to compare. Westford Academy has the college readiness score of 45.2, while the top schools in this report have 100. It was a big news to me that charter and magnet schools were the top 10 high schools nationwide. One of my neighbors works in charter school.
I worked in one charter school, but I have worked there for just about 10 years now. So I work at Innovation Academy Charter School in Tingsboro. What I have appreciated about working there as a teacher, and the benefit I've seen about it for my students, is that we do have a curricular flexibility that has allowed us to try different pedagogies. At our school in particular, we're project-based, so our class periods are between sometimes 72 to almost 80 minutes for one particular class. And this allows us to go really in-depth into student work and give them a large project that they can work on during the school day, and give them a lot of time to really go in-depth. I think we have a lot of teacher autonomy for curriculum design. We put a lot of faith in the teachers. All of our teachers are coming in with their background information in their subject area. A lot of our teachers, because they haven't come up through a traditional teaching route, they may be former engineers or former writers or people who have experience in the professional world, and that's what they're bringing into the classroom. So in terms of selecting textbooks or texts and resources for students to work from, that's largely up to the teacher. Teachers are usually working in teams with several other teachers to develop curriculum. So for, say, the 9th grade American Studies class, there'll be 3 teachers who are developing the class together, and they'll make decisions together on how to present the material. And because of the autonomy that we give to any given teacher, some teachers may emphasize tests more than that. Certainly test taking is an important lifelong skill to take the SATs, and many professions are going to need to, you'll need to be able to take a test. But we do put a stronger emphasis on the demonstration of their learning. Through other means, not just tests. So our classes, at least at Innovation, we have heterogeneous groupings of students. So we don't track students by ability. So in any given class, you'll have a full spectrum of students of different abilities. And the content topics that we're working on are all the Massachusetts state frameworks. So we're working within the same frameworks as all of the other public schools in Massachusetts. But we will, choose frameworks to go to develop projects around, and that's sort of how we decide. But it is something that, because we don't have ability grouping, the students are all working together in one classroom. So our class sizes, I think, are fairly typical compared to the surrounding districts. So we'll have, it can range. So certainly our biggest class sizes have maybe 24 students in one class, which I think is fairly standard, but we do have some flexibility where we can end up with smaller seminars. So I teach a small seminar that has 10 students in the class. We do have a smaller teacher-to-student ratio, so even when we have that group of 24 students, there'll typically be 2 teachers. I think homework is always, it depends on the subject area. Certainly for our skills-based classes, I think they tend to have more nightly homeworks for regular practice, so things like math and English language arts. For me as a science teacher, I don't assign that much homework because we are doing so much work in class, and there's so much time to be working with them on their writing in class. They can be working on writing and drafting with me. I can help them edit, in the moment. They don't need to write something for me and then bring it in. We can do it all.
That's what I got from her story. The most of the learning process should be in school. It means that all time students spend in class should be used. Also, very important is how much they are engaged in real learning and how much they work on developing creativity in class. Mr. Antonelli wanted to talk about the need to bring some changes in college education.
My concern is not primarily at the high school level. I think that the length of the day is appropriate, the length of the year is appropriate from my perspective. My concern is at the next level, and I believe today that there needs to be a shift in colleges and universities and the expectations. For instance, I have a son that's involved in criminal justice at Fitchburg State University. With everything that's going on in the criminal justice world and terrorism and homeland security, I want a well-balanced child, but I think that there are some courses that he's taking now that are courses that are not going to benefit him in his particular capacity as a police officer. It was great seeing some pictures that he drew last year in his last semester, some drawings and so forth. And again, if he was passionate about art, I'd say that's terrific. But I need him to understand race and the different issues that go along with race. And maybe those conversations are happening in some of his courses, but I'd like to see more of those things. I'd like to see colleges and universities come up with an idea of a 3-year bachelor program with an advanced master's program so that these students are getting a really high impact education for 3 years, coming out with a master's program, and then let's think about something beyond the master's program. We've been so traditional. We've been so traditional in our thinking in which we do 4 years. Every student does 4 years. They come out with a boatload of debt in some circumstances, and then they have to go on and get their master's degree. Why not think outside the box? Why not think about a 3-year, high intensity, pull out some of the fluff courses that maybe you don't need, and then go into a master's program and really figure out how best to make sure that the people that are going into these employment opportunities have the full experiences that they need. Northeastern University does a great job. They put every student into an internship program. Mr. Olson and I discuss this all the time. It's a terrific opportunity for students to go out and to get embedded into something that they're going to do into the future. I think it's a great idea. We agree that most colleges and universities should do that because it's just an awesome opportunity for you to apply what you're learning as you go through. It's a 5-year program. It's outstanding.
At the very end, I wanted to remind what placements U.S. teens got in the 2015 PISA test among students from 72 countries. They were 24th in reading, 25th in science, and 41st in math. Can you imagine the situation if American teams placed 41st at the Olympic Games? That would be the end of the world. The whole nation would talk about it, but not about education. Well, each country makes its choice.